Okay, the topic for discussion today is which is more compatible for Black Americans, Islam or Christianity? And then undoubtedly I will say Islam. And before you guys, lose your brain cells, let me explain. You see, in the Black community, we have a lot of areas of poverty. And associated with poverty is alcohol abuse, domestic violence, and liver toxicity. And in the Black community, whether it's Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, there's a liquor store on every corner. If it's not every corner, it's always within a half-a-mile radius where you can find liquor. It's not difficult to find liquor. Amongst whites, I live in the suburbs. You would never find a liquor store in the suburbs. Never. You got to go to Walmart or some other shopping store, Target, so on and so forth. Islam specifically teaches, in fact, it is a sin, makruh, sin, looked down upon, to consume alcohol. A Muslim might do 45 other things, but the last thing that he's going to do, consume alcohol, eat pork. He might cheat on his wife. He might have an affair. Consume alcohol, eat pork. Now, I'm not going to say every Muslim, because obviously we have our flaws, we have our faults. We're still human. But when a Muslim consumes alcohol, he's going to say it's astaghfirullah. When a Muslim goes home, he's going to say it's astaghfirullah 100 times. He's going to feel bad about this. Being a Christian, you're not really going to feel bad for drinking liquor, because the pastors, the preachers, they drink wine. And they're not telling you not to drink, because all things are forgiven through Christ, correct? Now, that doesn't help the Black community. But if the Black community had Islam and children grew up believing that it is a sin to drink, then we would reject liquor. The second thing is going to be food choices. We're taught to eat halal food. We're taught to eat healthy. It is haram to eat pork. Pork has over 25, 50 diseases. It has parasites, trichomoniasis. A pig doesn't even have veins to sweat. It holds all its toxins within its fats and within its meats that you consume. Being Muslim, you don't have to worry about eating such a heinous thing. When Christ exorcised an individual who called himself Legion wanted to be cast into something else. They said, hey, can you cast us into those pigs? And Christ said, verily so. Cast this legion of demons into a pig, and the pigs ran right into the sea, drowned themselves. This is what Christ thought about pigs. So pork. Number 3 is extramarital, out of marriage intercourse, or even interactions. You see, as a Muslim, you're taught you can't have friends. I remember when I first got on my deen, I brought at that time, she was my fiance. And he said, who's the woman in the car? And I go, that's my girlfriend. He said, brother, there are no friends in Islam. What do you mean? Yeah, you either married to her or you're not. If you're not going to marry her, then you put her away. I married her 3 days later. And actually, he officiated the wedding. So we can't have friends. What happens when you grow up as a Christian with female friends is it often leads into intercourse. You see, when you hug a woman and you inhale her pheromones, it turns you on. It does something to your brain. It releases serotonin. It releases dopamine. You become lustful. And now you want to have an interaction with her, personal interaction. As a Muslim, we don't even hug women. We don't even touch them. So if I'm not hugging a woman or touching them, I don't know how she smells. I don't have these lustful desires for her. She might have something on her that's attractive, but that hug is the closest thing to sex. And in Islam, this is makruh. It's prohibited. And we don't have that, or you guys don't have that in Christianity. When you guys going to church, the pastor, oh, how you doing, Mr. Smith? Oh, how you doing, Sister Jane? You're hugging. breast all on his breast, perfume all on his face. You're not going to see this in Islam, ever. Arrogance, prudence, pride. When I watch God Logic, he's a very arrogant individual, right? And I like God Logic. But if you look at his expression, the way he talks to people, name calling, so on and so forth. These stupid Muslims, these stupid Abduls. I'm the chef, I'm cooking these dudes. Very arrogant. And in Islam, we're taught not to be arrogant. We're taught not to be prideful. We're taught not to be boastful. I drive a nice truck. Drive a Cadillac Escalade. And before this, I had a BMW. And before that, I had a Maserati. I had a Bentley. Allah has blessed me. But all my money wasn't, halal. I admit that. When my money started being halal, of course, my crazy ravaging spending just went down. But I didn't feel bad about it because Islam teaches us to be humble, show humility. So I didn't feel I needed to flex or be the man in my city once I became Muslim. But when I wasn't Muslim, when I was representing Christianity, I'm not going to say I was ever a Christian, but I grew up in Christian culture. So you do things like celebrate Christmas, and you go to church on New Year's, and things of that nature. But, you see the deacon in a Bentley and a Rolls Royce, all of these extravagant things. These leaders got private jets, so on and so forth. You're not going to see this. You're never going to see a imam in a Rolls Royce. Never. So, you see more humility in Islam than you see in Christianity. And humility, staying away from things that are harmful for you, and staying away from women until you are married, these are all things that Black Americans should be practiced. Because when you have out-of-marital sex, you end up getting somebody pregnant. That often leads to single mothers, or that leads to disease. You see, when you're taught to stay away from women, you don't have to worry about impregnating somebody that you're not going to be with. It may take a long time to find a wife, but while you're searching, you're not doing haram deeds. Maybe play with yourself now and then, but you'll even feel bad about that. But so if Islam was spread throughout the America, especially the Black Americans, we wouldn't see single parents, we wouldn't see single moms, we wouldn't see the crime rate being sky high. But America is systematically a Christian country, even though you don't want to admit it, but it's considered as such, even though it's not, but it's considered. And in this Christian country, all we see is haram. We got strip clubs on every corner, liquor stores on every corner, easy access to immorality. Being a Muslim, just say if we were under the Sharia, we wouldn't have these things. Now, I don't recommend that America ever becomes Sharia, right? I think Sharia's, while it has a lot of good, I think there are always going to be people that abuse the Sharia and make it worse than what some people say it is. But when it comes to what's more compatible, or what should be more compatible with Black Americans, undoubtedly Islam, hands down. Islam keeps you away from alcohol, keeps you away from having affairs, and not only keeps you away, but makes you feel bad, even if you did it, right? If I was invited to a party and I was peer pressured, hey man, have a shot, I'm gonna say no. Come on man, have a shot. No. Man, it's just one, right? Just say I fell into peer pressure. Before I take that shot, I'm gonna say, astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive me. And then when I drink it, I'm gonna feel horrible. All the way up until the next Ramadan, where I need to get my sins expiated. But in Christianity, who cares? Have sex with this girl, wake up and go to church in the morning, and you don't even feel bad about yourself. So, if Black Americans had Islam, Black Americans would be in a better place. Sensei.